Hey, welcome back. We're now doing body paragraphs for essays. Let's see how we go here. Alrighty, so for a body paragraph there should be a minimum of 5 sentences. The point you're trying to make, the evidence on where the point is in the text and what is going on, the example, which is your quote which proves your evidence. You explain the technique and why the quote is useful for whatever study you're doing, if it's for discovery or if it's for context or whatever it is, and then you link it to the next paragraph so that your essay makes sense. So yeah, there's heaps of acronyms on how to do it: PEAL, TEAL, PETAL, all sorts of things, but basically make sure you have all those things in your body paragraph. Alrighty, so the first sentence introduces the point you're trying to make, very simply. The second sentence should set out what you're trying to say, giving your evidence. So we'll get into that, and then we have the quote and the technique. Then there's the explanation of that quote and that technique, and then linking to the next paragraph. So the sample example we have here is fantasy is shown through the novel as the responder is introduced to numerous make-believe characters. So the paragraph in this case is about fantasy, and we're going to talk about how fantasy is introduced through the characters. So J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit illustrates this concept of the fantasy genre in the Battle of the Five Armies. Okay, so it's now saying where in the story, the context of where we're going to get our evidence from. Okay, the battle is summed up by the protagonist, Bilbo Baggins, as he states, "They came from everywhere: dwarves, goblins, forks, trolls, and NRL players." Possibly maybe an incorrect quote. Okay, but we've got that quote there. Okay, then we talk about the technique in the quote and what it shows us. The hyperbole in the quote allows the respondent to imagine the vast array of mythical creatures Tolkien created for his novel. Okay, so the listing and the hyperbole that he's using allows us to see that. And along with the creation of mythical creatures, it's their magical powers which allow the reader to submit to this fantasy world, which means that our next paragraph is most probably going to be about magical powers. Okay, so that's a great, very simple paragraph. Okay, and that's the framework to hang everything else on. You can have 2 or 3 quotes in there. You can make multiple, points about the same character, as long as each paragraph is about one particular aspect. Alrighty, so because you guys are doing the HSC, you will need to either talk about a related text or a second text, okay? And you can use them in the same paragraph, and it usually makes for a more sophisticated paragraph. Alrighty, so why don't you pause it now and have a look at how we've put the 2 texts together there. Great stuff. Alright, and just very quickly on the conclusion, a lot of people put way too much importance on the conclusion. Yes, you need to have one, but basically by then the marker has made up their mind and they're going to know what mark they're really thinking of giving you anyway. Don't express any new ideas. Okay. The easiest way to conclude is to pretty much rearrange or basically restate your introduction. This was my thesis. This was how I answered the question. Thank you very much. Don't say thank you very much, but yeah, so just add in conclusion, therefore, or thus, and you'll be going awesomely. There's an example there, just have a quick read of. You can pause and read that. Alrighty. A lot of English students are unsure of how to study for an essay. Okay, get lots and lots of essay topics. Get as many topics as you can for that particular one. Now, the beauty of the HSC is it's been going forever, so using our friend Dr. Google, you're able to get lots of essay topics. Your teacher will also have a lot of essay topics. Get your notes in order. Okay, make sure you've got them. You've got the main themes, concepts, ideas, characters, everything that you've needed to talk about. You've got all your notes on that kind of stuff. And make sure all your quotes are written down. Okay, you shouldn't have to be going back to, The Tempest or 1984 or rewatching Metropolis. You should already know the texts and have all the quotes written down on paper ready to use. Okay, then you need to write essays. Okay, try to adapt, the main ideas that you've always got to particular essays, and always plan your essay first so you know where you're going. Okay, you have ideas, you write them down on the page, and the best thing to do is then number them in the order which you think will make the most coherent essay. Alrighty. So here's a great way I like to plan. Okay, you write down what you think the topic sentence is going to be or what it's going to be about. Then you write down the quote, the technique, and the synthesis. Yes, it's almost like writing a paragraph, but it's just a simple way of getting things clear in your mind. Alright, so there's an example there. Alright, there's some questions for you. Thank you very much.